It's the radio guy, Mike Prince. Welcome to the Sunday Night Live edition of the Mike Prince Show. Of course, it is our daily mission to bring you the news that you could use. Today would be no exception to the rule. Got a special guest on tonight, athletic director of the Langston Lions, representing the Lions Den, will be none other than Miss Donnita Rogers. The championship games are set for the Power Five. We'll kind of go over that. And tonight is a statement game that I'm on record for saying about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Summerlin is out in Arizona after the thrashing they received from Arizona State. Wow. Whole lot to discuss and talk about on tonight's episode. So what we're going to do, we're going to shift over and hear from some important dates that are coming up and everything else on that nature. And then we'll come right back into tonight's episode. You listen to the Mike Prince Show live right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Sit tight. We'll be right back.
Drivers and bicyclists both have the right to be on the road and travel safely. And when we're on the road together, safety is a shared responsibility. State law requires drivers to maintain at least 3 feet of clearance when passing bicyclists. And bicyclists should always ride with the direction of traffic and follow all traffic signals. It's safer. It's courteous. It's the law. A message from the Regional Planning Commission Pedestrian and Bicycle Program.
Mark your calendars for December 20th, 2020. The Prairie View Athletic Club extends an invitation for you to come out and learn more about the Prairie View Athletic Club and how it operates, proudly supporting PV Athletics since 1986. Be a part of something special. For more information, dial 936-857-5817.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the next 7 years of bigger and bigger enrollments, America's grade schools will need nearly 250,000 extra teachers, besides those to fill normal vacancies. This great need, plus the growing public interest in education and improvements in schools, make elementary school teaching a more rewarding career than ever, a career that high school and college students should certainly consider. Education holds America's future, perhaps your future.
Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union has 13 different locations to better serve you. Locations in Rosenberg, Missouri City, Katy, College Station, Bryan, Brenham, and Waller, Texas. For more information, you can contact them on their toll-free number, 855-391-2149. Or you can send an email to information@bvscu.org.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Join us for a daily episode of the Mike Prince Show right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sunday Night Live edition, Mike Prince Show, right here. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. And don't forget to sign up to the YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Well, the Power Fives have set their stages for the championship game. Some intriguing matchups. You're going to have Florida and Alabama for the SEC. For the ACC will be Clemson and Notre Dame. For the Big Ten will be Ohio State and Northwestern. And you have for the Big 12, it's going to be Oklahoma and Iowa State. And last, and I would normally say but not least, but they've been treated as the least, USC will be taking on Washington. And that is with a question mark, because with some of the challenges that Washington has been faced with from COVID, they might not even be able to suit up. And it's going to be interesting to see how the powers that be kind of set that structure up. But at least that's the format to be set. So if I were to start right now today in picking who my winners would be, the one that gives me the most difficult pick to make is actually going to be that Big 12 conference battle. But I'll get to that one. I'll save that one for last. How about that? I really believe that Alabama is going to really just blow the hinges off Florida's doors. I don't know why, but I just feel like this is going to be an easy cakewalk for Alabama. When it comes to the Pac, well, not the Pac, the Pac-12, we might as well get that one out the way. USC should come out victorious with that, which would catapult them to 6-0. Ohio State, Northwestern. Theoretically, you would say Ohio State, but you almost, just for the sake of chaos, would pull from Northwestern with the USC win to see exactly how they would try to rectify all of that. But I think Ohio State should win that game. I really think they should. I don't see anything strangely happening. Now, Oklahoma and Iowa State. I am really torn. Iowa State has really been having a fantastic season. Oklahoma has somewhat teeter-tottered, but they're still Oklahoma. And if I were to pick today, I would have to say Iowa State in a thriller, a nail-biter. Not that I would want to see Oklahoma lose, but if I was going on my gut feeling today, I would have to say Iowa State. So now, who makes it to the playoffs? In the event that Ohio State loses, USC wins, I think USC would slip in there. But if both of them win out, Ohio State has already been dubbed the golden child. And, of course, it's about the dollars. It's about drawing them in and making sure that the powers that be get a chance to wave the dead presidents underneath the nostrils of those that seek its glory and fame. And speaking of glory and fame, what about Mr. Jim Harbaugh? They're actually talking about extending his contract at Michigan, but with a twist. It's going to be some reduction in salary, and some of the powers that be that are close to the Harbaugh circle are saying that pride alone might not even allow Jim Harbaugh to accept the circumstances of the proposed contract. We'll see. It is what it is, and therefore shall be what it shall be. We're going to talk a little bit about the mishap that quickly got straightened out in the midst of Coach K and Coach Oates from Oklahoma. You listen to the Mike Prince Live right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We'll take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Serving the community through faith and athletics. The Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Have sports, we'll travel. The Open Mic Broadcast Network serving student athletes from Little League, high school, and collegiate coverage right here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. From coast to coast, from dusk till dawn. You can catch all student athletic action right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the station designed with you in mind. Serving the community through faith and athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the voice of student athletics. Let's face it, from time to time, we'll have a need for an attorney, whether it's the case of a DUI, DWI, or any other circumstances that would find you on the other side of the law. Attorney Lee Van Richardson, located at 1047 Austin Street, is the one to call. Attorney Lee Van Richardson and his staff are equipped to help you get through your legal battles. Attorney Lee Van Richardson, 979-826-8008 in Hempstead, Texas. Are you one of the many Americans that deal with the effects of diabetes? Diva Skin Conditioner could be the remedy that you need. Diva Skin Conditioner is a formulation that was designed with you in mind. Diva Skin Conditioner comes with a money-back guarantee. That's how confident they are in their product. For more information, visit divafeet.com. That's D-I-V-A-H, feet.com. Or you can speak with a representative by dialing 903-270-0026.
Broadcasters come into our lives on radio and TV, bringing us information and entertainment. Broadcasters are there for us, but who is there for them when they fall on hard times? The Broadcasters Foundation of America provides financial assistance to broadcasters in acute need due to a critical illness, accident, or other serious misfortune. If you know of a broadcaster on the air or behind the scenes who may need our help, please share our message. Visit broadcastersfoundation.org.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Mike Prince Show Live. We're going to be hearing from the athletic director of the Langston Lions real soon on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline, Miss Donnita Rogers. But before the break, we were talking about the little spit-spat that was going back and forth between Duke and Alabama. Coach K of Duke University made the announcement that he thought basketball should be shut down. And contrary to popular belief, many people were echoing that he only stated that because of the two losses that he's faced at home in non-conference play. But we had some confirmation by our basketball guru, Coach Van Pettaway of the Open Mic Broadcast Network, that Coach K had already been on record stating that he was against coming back. But nonetheless, Coach Oates had some words to say. And when he said what he said, it was shots fired across America. But since the statement, he apologized to Coach K. So he even reached out to him and stated, hey, I went back. I listened to it, and I was out of pocket. And it's easier said than done, and at least he did man up and apologize and repent, whatever you want to use for getting the train back on tracks. But is it too late? Is the damage already done? It'll be interesting to see if the two ever cross paths on the hardwood and both of them are still coaching, just exactly how much this is put behind them. Very interesting. But, people are entitled to voice their opinion. And the thing about it, we've become so ultra sensitive these days that if a person says how they truly feel, then people say, oh, no, you should have never said that. Then don't ask them. Don't ask a person to be candid. And when they're candid, you want to hold it against them. Now, for the record, I don't think Coach Oates had much room to really talk about. Coach K is a proven winner, and he is one of the godfathers of NCAA basketball, and his voice does have a little bit of weight. But it'd be very interesting to see how they reconcile things. And speaking of trying to reconcile things, Mr. Sumlin's days at Arizona are finito, finished, gone, kaput, no more. Arizona State put up 70 last night against Arizona Wildcats. 70-7. And when you lose like that to a rival, it's hard to really even have a meeting. And I could imagine that Sumlin, with the success that he's had, and by the way, FYI, he is still the winningest coach at Texas A&M history. That's a fact. But he has moved on since then. But I just thought I would drop that little nugget in. And I'll give one more little Aggie tidbit, acknowledgement, stab, whatever you want to call it. To talk about that Aggie Nation is the place where champions are built. They hadn't won a championship since 1939. Over 80 years. They have not won a national championship. And with the way the powers that be are treating them now, they're still going to have to wiggle and work their way through. Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies are going to have to go 20-0 before I guess they start getting the necessary respect. That's just one man's opinion. But it's very interesting to see how all of this is unfolded. I got to get ready to take a break. I guess Miss Donnita Rogers will be in tune with us very, very soon. And can't wait to hear what she has to say. She always got something good to say. And we're going to switch over and get ready for her on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. And we'll be right back with more of tonight's show. At 17 cents a day, you can make a huge impact on our local and regional high school and college student athletic coverage. We provide local talk shows, live game coverage, and much, much more. But we need your support to continue to move forward. Visit our website today at obnradio.com. Click on the PayPal button, which is safe and secure, and become a listening partner today. Will you become part of the Open Mic Broadcast Network team? Visit that website at obnradio.com and become a listening partner today. Serving the community through faith and athletics, the voice of student athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network, Prairie View, Texas.
Do you know what's up with Ryan? He's been acting weird and he's not hanging out anymore.
He borrowed money from me and still hasn't paid it back.
His girlfriend broke up with him a couple weeks ago. Said he was more into his sports app than her.
He may be addicted to fantasy sports. We need to get him some help.
Sports betting and fantasy sports can have serious consequences. Know somebody with a gambling problem? Get free and confidential help. Call 1-877-MY-LIMIT. That's 1-877-695-4648. Or go online to opgr.org.
The station designed with you in mind. The Open Mic Broadcast Network, Prairie View, Texas.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Mike Prince Show Live Sunday edition. And we have someone lined up on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. You hear All Eyes on Me playing in the background, and deservedly so, as I present to some and introduce to others the Queen Lion of the Lions Den, representing Langston University, Miss Donnita Rogers. How are you this evening, ma'am?
Hi, good evening. So good to hear your voice and be back on the air again.
Well, you know what? It is good to have you back on the air. It's been, as I say, a long time coming. But we got a lot to talk about, and before we get too involved in all of this, let me say I am so glad to hear and know that you're doing much better.
Thank you. Like we said earlier, it is a blessing to be able to speak with you and just keep rolling. Unfortunately, I was hit by that COVID bug, and boy, I'm telling you, that is a bad bear. And I'm grateful that I was able to wrestle and win.
Well, you talk about it. This thing is so real, and it is hitting everyone. It's not just something that you're reading in the newspapers, hearing on the radio, or watching on television. This thing is real. And without going into all of the gory details, what was your experience like when first you found out that you had it and was confirmed that you had it, and then the actual adjusting and living through it and being on the backside of it?
Right. Well, I had it the first week of October, and initially I have really bad allergies, and so I'm used to like when the weather changes and stuff that I'm usually going to have to go to the doctor and maybe have a Z-Pack or something and dealing with the sinus infection. So initially I hadn't felt the greatest, but it felt like my allergies were bad, that I had a bad sinus infection. So I went to the doctor, and he was like, man, your nasal cavity and your throat looks really bad. I'm going to put you on the Z-Pack. And so I was not one of those people that experienced the really high fevers or anything like that. Although we do, even in sports, you do so much screening about the temperature, but mine was never really that high. Just a few times it approached close to 100, but especially at that time, things were normal. So he put me on a Z-Pack, and I'll never forget, I had a speaking engagement to do like 2 days later. And so that was a big part of, I was like, kind of in the back of my mind, I was just like, man, this still just feels different. Like the Z-Pack, usually after your first day, on that second day, after you've taken that pill, you start seeing like, oh, okay, this is about to start clearing up, but I was still feeling bad. And so as the week progressed, I just, I remember the first time I ate a Ritz cracker and couldn't taste it. And I was like, uh-oh. And so I just started seeing some of those signs of maybe some other, like the loss of taste and smell. So I went back to the doctor on Friday and had a rapid test done, and they were like, yeah, you have COVID. Please go out the back door, not out the front lobby part, which is part of their protocol. So it became super real, and, just praying, like by that time I knew that I had it like 6 or 7 days. And it was just hoping that, no respiratory problems would happen, which they didn't. But I just had super bad sweat, chills, those type of things, just fighting through those pieces, body aches. Yeah, it was like the flu on steroids. And so it did take about 10 days to get over with. And then post-COVID, I still had some other issues with really bad throat infection and things. And I've been doing some research. There's a lot of people that are impacted. It's called long haulers, for the people that have a lot of reoccurring issues and problems after COVID, from everything from shedding hair to some people have rashes, breakout on their tongue, still severe problems walking. The COVID fog, which is a little bit of memory loss and all, I think that was really bad when I had it. Like you just be talking and, you forget what words you were going to talk about. And more than what, I know that all as we get older, we still do some of that, but it's a little bit harder. And you just have to kind of take your time and come up with the words or whatever. The real bad itchy eyes had that part. So this is an unbelievable virus that attacks in so many different ways, and to still, have lingering effects on people long after it's supposed to be over is truly scary. So, my advice, I just, want everybody just to be as cautious as possible. You are fighting an invisible foe. that is taking people out. And so you just have to do the best that you can. That whole wearing a mask, I mean, that's the least that you could do to start out with protecting yourself. So you just got to embrace the mask and make sure that your mask is color coordinating with what you're wearing, whatever you got to do to get you through it. But you need to wear a mask.
Say a fashion statement or not, put the mask on, right?
That's exactly right.
Wow. We're talking right now with Athletic Director Donnita Rogers of the Langston Lions, giving her testimony on how she has dealt with COVID. And it's something that people are misunderstanding, that they think once you get it and get it over with, you still are subject to deal and revisit with that thing, right?
Yes. And I've done research on that, and it's, they're saying that you do have antibodies, but there are some people that are getting it a second and third time, and that oftentimes your antibodies only last around 90 days. And so, I looked at that. We are scheduled to try to play spring sports, and it's not that I'm letting my guard down for when that happens, but, it's kind of scary that I'm going to have to be as diligent or more. Still, it's, just because I had it doesn't mean I can't get it again. So, that really is scary to me. So many things that you've had, once you've had chicken pox and those other things that you've dealt with, that, you had a chance to have some very strong antibodies and not get it again. But, this is a bad virus, man.
Oh, it's something else.
Yeah.
It's absolutely. My sister-in-law right now, thanks to God, she is coming through her bout. She's going to have to learn how to walk again. This thing is debilitating, man, and it's like I say, it's real. And I'm so glad that you are sharing with the listening audience, and like I say, we're extremely happy, prayerful, thankful that you are okay. And while all that was going on, there are still the mentions and the hopes of spring sports to be lifting off. Now, I am not going to be a pessimist, but from looking at the data, reading the tea leaves, in the case of football, on the lower levels, when I say lower levels, anything below FBS, it's going to be a tall order and a far reach to try and get football off. Am I being too pessimistic?
No, you're not. It's going to be a tall order to get any of the sports off, but definitely football. These are the sheer numbers and things that you're dealing with. But yes, it's it was difficult. Our men's and women's basketball were able to start some semblance of practice, and our men's basketball team maybe had about 10 days more of the opportunity to practice together than our women's team, and then we were hit by this bad ice storm. And we're out 4 or 5 days, and then had to test again. And then all of our students went home on November 20th. So they had to finish their finals and stuff virtually. And this was planned. It was not like we had a huge outbreak on campus and then we had to go home. So that's always been part of the plan. So we're trying to do the testing part as we come back. Now, one thing I'm extremely grateful for is that our university has really pushed and has supported testing. I just had a game ops meeting on Friday, and with our executive branch of our emergency leadership team, and they're pushing for, like, hey, we want to test the athletes maybe every single day by rapid test when they get back in the month of January, so we can try to catch any cases or whatever right when we're expecting cases to be high when they get back, obviously, because our students have been around their families and traveling and all that. So we know those first 2 weeks are going to be absolutely critical. But, especially for any high school, they've done a great job. I mean, I would say that our men's basketball team has probably been tested maybe 7 or 8 times at least during a month of workouts or in a 6-week training period, probably, of trying to phase in the weight room and go to the gym. And I feel pretty confident. I'm not sure that we'll do the 3 times a week like NCAA, but I think that initially we will be testing to that degree. And, we're looking at everything possible, buying our own equipment to test here on the campus. We've got 2 great labs that have been actually coming to our campus to test. And so then we're looking at, potentially testing the entire student body when they come back first to school in January. So I think that's a huge investment, and it means a lot to them to try to catch cases initially when they get here to make sure that we don't have a huge outbreak on campus.
Not only is it a huge investment, but it's a huge sign of that we care toward student bodies, toward your parents, toward the administrators, toward the community. And I know it's going to cost. I know you talked about the rapid testing, but one thing I want people to get a clear understanding of, there is a huge difference between monitoring and testing. Monitoring is almost like the honor system. You ask a couple of questions, you're hoping that the people are going to be honest with you, and taking a temperature is nowhere near the depths of an actual test. And for you to commit to be wanting to take the test, it speaks volumes to the leadership at Langston. And I'll be the first to tip my hat as an outsider to commend you on you guys making that initiative start and push forward.
Yeah, and Mike, that's impressive the way you worded that, because the screening part, we have all felt, although that helps, there's still so much that can get by. Because like I said, in my own experience, I never had a day that I was like 101 or 102. So on that aspect, which is a major, when you're doing screening for practice and things, that's one of the things that's a major tip-off where, like, hey, if you run a temperature, you're not going to go to practice. But I would have been one of those people that would have probably slid through the cracks on that one. And maybe it's concerned because I did have the headache, didn't feel that great or whatever. But, and then until you get into the deep throes of it, when you start having, like, severe sweats and then chills, it's real funny because I shouldn't say funny like that, but when I see someone profusely sweating, like, I don't think that is a symptom that was really talked about a lot. So when that part was happening to me, I was kind of shocked because, you would be sweating, soak your clothes through, and then, all of a sudden here would come the chills, and you'd be feeling like you had a tank top on in the igloo. And you were just like, shake. So I'd never heard people really talk about those symptoms, but it's like I'm so aware now of seeing other signs besides the temperature part when we're looking at things. So you really have to have someone that either has been through it or is a witness to some of those other signs whenever you're getting ready to have screening tables, or you're going to be looking at who's practicing that day. And still understanding that, like I talked to my football coach, and he was talking about, well, one of my players said that he was really sore about whatever. He's like, that's not a sign of COVID. I was like, yes, it is. Like there are times when that my calves felt like I had done stadium stairs and I had done nothing but, this sick. I was literally, it was muscular sore. He was like, really? I was like, yeah. I was like, you got to talk to some people that have been through it, and you have to be listening to some of those buzzwords that your student athletes are saying as we go through this. So we've got to really educate coaches more and make sure that we're doing, even our student trainers and our trainers, that they are more aware of the signs beyond what are on that screening sheet. So that was a great point.
Now, when you talk about this, and I'm not trying to make this a man versus woman thing, but the fact that obviously that you're female, you sound like female, you sound like girl, do you think it's part of that natural maternal instinct that a woman has that would make her a bit more sensitive to, paying attention to signs? Because I know you're the leader, but it's almost like these are your babies, and you're kind of a little bit more to detail, where that male figure, there's the bravado of tough testosterone flowing everywhere, and you got to suck it up and be a man. Do you think part of that is kind of helping you with some of the decisions that need to be made when it comes to your students' health?
Well, I think that it is, but I'll look at many of my coaches that haven't been diagnosed with COVID yet. They're still being super cautious. They don't want to catch it. Many of them have their own children. Our football coach, as I've talked to him, he's done a great job of protecting himself, his family. He's got 3 very small children. And so they are interested in doing this thing right, because no one wants to, once they get it or have to contact trace or part of that, their whole family is on lockdown too. So it's a domino effect. So they all realize that. And I think, honestly, I was one of the first ones in our department to have COVID. So I think when it got me, they're like, I think it really got a lot of people's attention, because I am that person that's wiping down door handles, that have been wearing a mask the whole time, and telling people like, whoa, stop. I didn't let them even come in my office. They'll talk to me from the door and stuff like that. So, I have never been just flamboyantly like I'm going maskless and all those other different things. We've been trying to demonstrate, good sound practices. And so they're just like, whoa, it really came home to everybody. And so, I remember sometimes doing it. I still had daily meetings. I mean, the athletic department still goes on. At that time, I did not have my assistant athletic director that was hired yet. So I still had things that I had to do. And I remember some days, I got to make up my mind. I've got to get 5. That was my goal, to try to accomplish 5 things a day. It might be in between 2 naps and a dose of Tylenol, but that would be my goal. Like if I got 5 things accomplished, whether it was that ELT meeting and then a few emails or whatever, then I considered it a successful day. So that always drives me, and I thank God. I just appreciate my drive and perseverance, ability to push through and try to suck it up, because I was really worried about even going back to work. Like, how am I going to be able to work during the day and not lay down or whatever. And the first 2 or 3 weeks were exhausting, but it was a lot better. It's just one of those things that scares me too, that, if I have a contact tracer, if I go down, because these smaller schools, our departments are so small that, that would be huge impactful if me, my assistant, or my SID, which we're all around each other a little bit more than the other coaches and student athletes. But if we go down, what happens to game ops? And so this is so much to consider on juggling how much we're around each other. Even with my assistant AD, we're like never in the same room that long. We have to do a lot of Zoom meetings, or we do Microsoft Teams, so that we're still planning and talking. But, we're going to have to be extremely mindful of that come January, that we do limit being around each other even more, so that if one of us is exposed, we don't stop the whole game operations by all of us being gone.
Wow. We're speaking right now with Donnita Rogers, Athletic Director of the Langston Lions from the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. Now, this is so intriguing to me, and I know to those that are listening. With all the precautions that you have been taking, do you know how you got exposed to the virus?
It took a while. I think that I may have been exposed by someone that actually cleaned the office. I cannot trace it back to anything else that I did, but I know that she had it maybe about 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before I left. And I just remember, and this is, God is my witness, she was sweating profusely when she came in my office. I was on a Zoom meeting or something like that. And I was like, "Are you all right?" She's like, "Yeah, I am just hot," or whatever. And so I'm sorry, but especially as females, you're just like, okay, I don't know if she's, hot flash, whatever. Mm-hmm. Again, I did not know that was a sign. But as I put things together and we've talked, I kind of think that might have been the time that I was exposed. And so if I'm just in the confines of my office suite, normally when I see them come in or whatever, I'll mask up. But if I'm just working at my desk and, no one's in my office suite, I don't have my mask on. So I don't know if it was that, she touched the trash can and I don't know what it was, but that's the only person during that time that I know to have had it that I follow in habits. But I'm not sure.
Okay.
Again, I'm not sure on that, but that's the only person. And honestly, whenever, a couple of weeks ago when Rudy Giuliani was on doing the infamous speech where the dye in his hair started running down. He was sweating so profusely, and I told my husband before, I was like, he has COVID already. I was like, look at that, or whatever. And it took like a week later, and of course he's diagnosed with it. And I was just like, so those some other stuff, man, that I am trying to be hip to the game, so to speak, and so that hopefully I can educate people to look beyond that temperature and headache and all that. There's some other telltale signs.
Wow. Absolutely fascinating. Look, I've got to take a break. Will you be kind enough to sit with me through the break and we can continue on?
I would love to.
Okay, then what we're going to do, we're going to take us a break. I always want to call you doctor, but I'm going to say it anyway. Dr. Donnita Rogers of the Langston Lions. You listen to the Mike Prince Show live. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Looking to expand your business or services? Let the Open Mic Broadcast Network help lead the way. With our customized campaigns, we are definitely able to reach your target audience. For more information, dial 832-213-8824. The Open Mic Broadcast Network, serving the community through faith and athletics. The voice of student athletics.
The Purple Drip Daiquiri and Grill is a restaurant to soothe your Caribbean taste buds. Located at 629 Sharon Street in Prairie View, Texas, the Purple Drip Daiquiri and Grill has a variety of options to choose from. Curry goat, curry chicken, stew beef, jerk chicken, oxtails, barbecue chicken, pork chops, chicken tenders, meatloaf, hamburgers, nachos, turkey wings, fried chicken, and don't forget the sides. White rice, green beans, pork and beans, mashed potatoes, cabbage, rice and peas, French fries, and fried cabbage. The Purple Drip has convenient hours to satisfy any appetite. Monday through Fridays, 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. The Purple Drip, we're dripping out the spot. Call and make your order today. 346-978-2875. That number again, 346-978-2875. The Purple Drip Daiquiri and Grill, Prairie View, Texas.
Hello, I'm Dr. Mike Prince, the pastor of the Temple of Refuge Ministries located in Prairie View, Texas. I am extending a personal invitation to you to come and worship with us Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Simply dial 857-777-0000 and join us for our morning worship. In the event that you miss us live, you can always go to our on-demand center at 720-721-1558 to listen to our latest sermons and Bible studies. Temple of Refuge Ministries, where we're building the kingdom, one soul at a time. Numbers to dial again for our live sermons, 857-777-0000 and on demand, 720-721-1558. Be blessed.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Mike Prince Show live Sunday night edition. We have on the line of the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline, Miss Donnita Rogers, and she has been really giving her testimony on this COVID deal and how real it is and the telltale signs and all of that. But now we're going to try to talk a little bit about the Langston Lions. Basketball season just getting off. Football season soon to come. But with the games on the court and already having the challenges that one has had from the pursuit of the financial gains, this, that, and the other. How will going forward determine how you guys schedule, in particular, your non-conference events and your travel for Langston Athletics?
So do you mean like in the next 3 months, or as we look
just
into
in the future,
just in the future
period?
Well, I think that as I look at projected football schedules for 21 and 22, I see that there's an opportunity to have 2 buys scheduled in, 2 buy dates, and you always want to try to do that. You know, it used to be for us to play one of the SWAC schools or another bigger NCAA school, a classic game or something like that. But, you know, realistically, it kind of terrifies me to schedule those games, because sometimes we may need that as a break for us to heal and be prepared to, you know, finish out the season. You know, we may need that as for contact tracing, for the players being out. I just don't know how effective that vaccine will be for sports. I really feel like I feel like we won't be totally, you know, we won't have an opportunity where we won't worry about if we can finish the season or anything, probably until 22, as we figure out what the vaccine is going to do and the impact, you know, especially to athletes. If we have more cardiac issues, those type of things are still going to have to work their way out. Plus, there's still so many other side effects after COVID, right? So we really haven't had a full year of dealing with what type of impact that's going to have on student athletes. You know, ideally, we're going to say like, oh, our student athlete has COVID, they're back ready to roll in 2 weeks. Well, are they really? You know, is that healthy, or, you know, can they really perform, or will it really be about 3 or 4 more weeks after that before they're really at themselves? Or, you know, as we know, some have other effects that, you know, keep them out longer than that. So I don't feel like we'll be able to, like, hey, here's our football schedule and it's probably going to go exactly as planned. I feel like we're still like even another year away from that, honestly. So yeah, that's going to definitely impact our, you know, our planning for in the spring. You know, we have our conference has done a great job with, I believe, only like 50% of our games. The people in our conference that chose to play in the fall, there was still a lot of cancellations. And so our conference is kind of looking at it as, if we can get a conference champion in all of our sports, we probably will consider ourselves having a pretty successful season. You know, yes, we'd love to make it to the national tournament or do all those things, but, you know, the thought of not being able to name a conference champion, you know, this year is kind of sad. It's going to be always that year that has the asterisk beside it in the records, right?
Well,
so,
maybe they were just holding it for you all to return back. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you guys had opted out in the fall, and people was like, you guys are crazy. But you guys are looking like you're crazy as a fox right now, because with all the extra drama that they had to deal with, not that you didn't have drama to deal with on your own, but you're able to sit back in there and put that asterisk in there so you can go back and fill in the gaps and pick up where you left off.
Well, that's true. You know, our president, Dr. Smith, has been, and his team has been very adamant. You know, the kids are absolutely tired. Virtual Zoom had just, you know, tired. And a lot of them have just begged for, you know, they haven't had a normal experience, especially at a HBCU. Like, it's been a struggle. And so the university is committed to try to do a few more things that are like campus engagement that's more normal to most years, obviously with social distancing, masks, and all those other things. So they committed to that, but they also believe that committing to more student engagement on campus also means a ton of more testing. So, you know, if everybody accepts that and moves forward with that, we're going to do our best. So, you know, we are starting out fanless in the stands, especially in January, as we try to see what numbers look like when everybody gets back. But I do have in the works that we want to try to phase in by February, where we're having some students that are involved in the games, and that we'll probably start out at about 25% capacity or something like that. and we'll try to move towards that and let the numbers guide us. But we do want to see, if you came to Langston to be in the band, well, we'd love to see you have an opportunity to still perform. And hopefully football will, allow some of those things for students to get a normal experience.
It's ironic that you bring up the band. And we talk about, the 6-foot spacing. Being in the band would scare the dickens out of me if I were not at the end of the line. And here's why I say that. Your horn sections and the shouts when you're talking about, Langston or, whatever your school is, and all that stuff flying in the air and all that stuff coming from the person behind you. Man, the air and stuff coming through the brass sections. Man, I'm not getting out there. I mean, being old like I am, I'm like, no, y'all can have that. But there are a lot more things that people, I don't think, have focused on, that this thing is really just, it's like a train running at top speed without brakes.
Yeah, great analogy. And we are looking at that. I mean, we do feel the band won't be in the gym and enclosed spaces, but we do feel a little bit better about them being phased in, hopefully, when we're outdoors. Mm-hmm. So, and still at that, there will be more spacing than ever before in the band. Probably most bands are looking like they're almost double the size, because we're getting ready to use a lot of room to try to, mitigate some of those issues like you just spoke about. So, we're kind of navigating these new waters as well with the band and kind of figuring out what's going on. I know Mr. Gordon and other band directors across the nation have, I think, kind of have their own meetings and, like, hey, so what have you found that's working? How many cases that you've had? And I think they're all putting their heads together to create some guidelines and protocol that will assist all bands with, ultimately performing,
Absolutely. We're on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline with Donnita Rogers, Athletic Director of the Langston Lions, talking about the future of Langston Athletics. And I meant to ask you this question a while back, and it just escaped me, so I'll take advantage of the opportunity now. Who would you consider your rival in the Sooner Conference? I know this is your third, fourth year in that conference. Who have you picked up with as far as your rival? I know you guys kind of merged over with Texas College, but do you consider Texas College a rival, or is another Oklahoma school? Who do you consider your rival, and why?
Honestly, it's funny that you asked that, because even whenever I was coaching, I always felt like somehow when people came to play us, we always had a target on our back. So I feel like it's really just kind of, like even Coach Morgan will say, it's just next. Everybody plays this like it's the conference championship. They come with it, and especially in football, he's had only like 2 conference losses or something like that in the last 3 years. So literally, he has to come with it every single night. There is no letdown. They prepare for that one. When the schedule comes out, that Langston is highlighted and circled to prepare for it. But I would say in football, it's always been an extreme battle with the Arizona schools, like Arizona Christian and Ottawa. Ottawa was one that beat them last year in Arizona. And then when Ottawa played Lyon College, they lost up there. So we had to share a piece of that championship last year. In 2019, yeah, that's why I feel like I've lost a year in there somehow. But and then in basketball, I would say we have Oklahoma Panhandle State University, which is our sister school with the OSU A&M Board of Regents. That's always a pretty good game. And then Oklahoma City University is always, they have more championships period, but especially in basketball, than any other school in our conference. So I think that we always really get up to play them as well. So if I had to pick, it would probably be those schools. Okay. And then Yeah.
Okay, so you say there's an X on your back. I couldn't help but feel like you were kind of boasting just a little bit there, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll let you get it. Talking about everybody wants us because when you're on top, you're on top. Everybody want to get to the top, right?
Well, it is. I mean, and it's such a, and we have the ADs and all, they talk about it, and coaches, that especially in basketball in a normal year, I would say that we have the most feared gym to play in. And, I think that's a big thing. Our game atmosphere is like no other in the conference. And not only are we the only HBCU, but everyone laughs is that typically we have always hired a DJ for our games. We want our kids engaged, and we want our kids to be like, I'm going to come. I don't know. Hopefully the basketball will be great. The DJ will be fun, and I get to move a little bit. It is a great interactive experience.
Tell me you be busting moves on the sideline, girl?
No, I don't. No, those days are gone. But,
okay. Well, you said you get to move a little bit. I thought you were talking about you get to cut it up when the DJ get to cutting up.
Well, the student athletes do, and then the certain songs for our Greeks, we get them cranked up, and it's
just
a lot
like
of energy.
Candy.
Exactly. Exactly.
For those who don't understand, that was a Zeta reference there. So go ahead. I do understand. Now, the DJ thing is very, let's say, culture induced, because that's a big hit at Prairie View as well. And it's just something about the DJ being in the gym, and whenever the breaks come, sometimes they let the music go a little extended, and you get almost a technical, especially if you get some maze going, and everybody wants to start singing, but it's just a great atmosphere and a great time. And speaking of time, it never fails when you and I get together, young lady. We are pressed toward the
time to go.
It's almost time to go, girl. It's almost, can you believe that? But you know what? It's like Motel. I'm not going to call them out because they're not paying to be on this airway. But we're going to always leave the light on for you. You already know that, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I appreciate the love.
Oh, I am so glad to hear your voice. You just don't know.
I'm so glad to be heard.
I know so well. Well, look, ma'am. I want to give you an opportunity to have some closing thoughts, comments, and the floor is now yours.
All right. Well, again, it is so good to be back. Hopefully I'll have some amazing things to start reporting on a regular basis. And just keep those lines in your thoughts and prayers. I used to say early in the summer that those lions would be able to hunt again, and we're warming up and trying to prepare ourselves to start this hunt again, and we want to be able to do it safely. So I also ask our listeners to continue to follow Lion Sports on www.langstonssports.com, and hopefully this will be just one of many times that I'll be back to address everybody in the future. L's up.
L's up. Okay, we've heard from the queen of the Pride, athletic director, Miss Donnita Rogers. Look, you stay safe, stay sweet, stay engaged, and we're going to talk to you real soon, okay?
All right, most definitely.
All right.
Good to see you, Mike.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for joining in with us on tonight. We want to thank our sponsors who help make tonight possible, because we can't get it done without them, right? And we want to thank Temple of Refuge Ministries, located in Prairie View, Texas. You can always reach out to them by listening on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. by dialing 857-777-0000 and get you a word of manna from above. I want to thank Purple Drip, Daiquiri and Grill. You can get in contact with them and order some of the best Caribbean food on this side of heaven. 346-978-2875. We want to thank Attorney Lee Van Richardson, located at 1047 Austin Street. His phone number is 979-826-8008. Can't forget about Helping Hands Lawn Service, serving Waller County, Texas. For an appointment, dial 281-917-8958. Diva Skin Conditioner for those who are dealing with the conditions that type 2 diabetes can cause on your skin. Visit that website at divafeet.com, DIVAAH feet.com. You can give them a call, 903-270-0026. Prairie View Athletic Club, they got a meeting coming up December 20th. You can learn how to become part of something special. Dial 936-857-5817. And last but not least, Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union. 13 locations to better serve you. Katy, Rosenberg, Brenham, Bryan, College Station, and of course that newest location located in Waller, Texas at 2038 Mills Road. You can call their toll-free number for one nearest you at 855-855-391-2149. The clock on the wall tells me that is all, and I must exit stage left. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. As always, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.